Hello, my friends. It's me again, and I'm here to share a wonderful story with you about a true life person. That's right, Thomas Edison, a great inventor. Back in the 1800s, was creative and come up with wonderful ideas. Many of the things that we enjoy today was because of his creativity and ingenuity back in the 1800s. But Thomas Edison had his number of failures too, but it never discouraged him, and he kept inventing. I am glad to be able to share this story with you, The Timeless Thomas, How Thomas Edison Changed Our Lives by Jean Beretta. Have you ever thought about inventing something of your own? You're never too young to try, you know. Thomas Alvin Edison began experimenting when he was just a boy. That's right. It was the beginning of a life dedicated to improving the world with brilliant ideas and inventions. But Thomas couldn't do it alone. When he grew up, he gathered a large team of scientists, engineers, mechanics, and artisans in Menlo Park, New Jersey. Together, they started the first research and development laboratory in the entire world. It became known as the Invention Factory. Later, a second lab was built in West Orange, New Jersey. It was an even bigger and busier success. These were the sites of his greatest successes and his most valuable failures. Yes, that's right. Edison used his failures as a necessary part of inventing. He once said, "I know several thousand things about what won't work." And he always tried again. Now, today, we can now record any sound that we like, and we can save it. This was not possible before Edison. No. Back in Edison's lab, Edison's first created a tinfoil phonograph, and it was the first device to record sound and play it back. It was a major scientific breakthrough and earned him his nickname, the Wizard of Menlo Park. That's pretty impressive for a man who was partially deaf. That's right. To record, he covered a cylinder with tin, rotated it, and then spoke into a horn. The voice vibrated a needle on the end of the horn. The vibration needle makes small sound grooves on a rotating tin. Then to listen, you stop, place the needle back in the start of those grooves, start rotating the cylinder. The needle rides over the sound grooves and plays your recording. Now, in present day, if Thomas Edison were alive today, he would be fascinated by the many different ways we listen to recorded sound. But it all started with his photograph. Now, in Edison's lab, Edison constantly improved on his phonograph so it could have multiple purposes. Models were designed for homes and public arcades. Phonographs were also introduced to offices as the first dictation machines. It became possible for office workers to record spoken information, save it, then play it back when they were ready to copy down everything that was said. A small phonograph was even built for the first talking doll. Now in present day, today telephone is the easiest and quickest way to contact someone. The telephone was first invented by Alexander Graham Bell, yet Edison improved on it. That's right. In Edison's lab, he saw that all the telephones had a transmitter. This is where we speak. And a receiver. This is where we listen. Edison created a transmitter that was powerful enough to send our voices much farther and to make them sound much louder. Now, This is very interesting. Edison introduced the word hello as the official telephone greeting. That's right. Alexander Graham Bell wanted us to use ahoy hoy. I'm not sure about you, but I think hello is a much better greeting than ahoy hoy. Now, present day, the photocopier and the tattoo needle seem to have nothing in common. But let's go back to Edison's lab. You see, yet they were both based on Edison's electric pen. It was the first motorized copier. Like a tattoo machine, the electric pen contained a small needle that moved in and out, while writing a message. This needle poked holes in the paper to create a stencil. Ink was then spread over the stencil to make a copy. Here's a fun fact. Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, was a big fan of this electric pen. Now, today, do you need a battery? Take your pick. Today, they are made in many different shapes and sizes. Where did they get started? Well, one of Edison's biggest success was the nickel iron storage battery. It was originally created to power an electric car. Yes, this was back in the 1800s. But since the electric car didn't really catch on, he found many other important uses for those batteries. For example, Edison's battery was used to power buoys out in the ocean, local delivery trucks that just had to go over small distances, rural homes that did not have power cords that came into them, railway cars and signals, like in San Francisco, boats and submarines. Yes, that's right. Boats today even use this type of battery. And then, of course, miners' helmets. Well, here are 3 things in present day that Edison helped create. Before vending machines became a popular start for tasty treats, when the members of our government cast a vote, they used a very basic voting machine. The X-ray machine is a common way to photograph the inside of our bodies. But where did all of these come from? Well, let's take no further hesitation but to look in Edison's laboratory. You see, Edison created an idea of a large-scale vending machine for the urban poor. It featured a coin-operated openings across a wall, each one filled with necessities like coal and farm produce. Thomas Edison invented a vote recorder for the government. It was his very first patent. You see, having a patent means you legally own an invention. Over the course of his career, Edison was awarded 1,093 different patents for his ideas. And then, of course, Edison's fluoroscope was the first example of an X-ray technology. It generated a bright and fast image, the basic design, which is still used today in our, that's right, X-ray machines. Well, today, when we hear the word Hollywood, we think bright lights, big movies, glamorous celebrities. But did you know Hollywood is not the birthplace of the movies? No, the movie industry was essentially started in Edison's laboratory. His goal was to offer an experience that does for the eye what the phonograph does for the ear. That's right. You see, back in Edison's lab, Edison created the first motion picture camera, the kinetoscope. The technology was similar to our modern movie cameras. He also built the first movie studio, and he called it the Black Maria, because it resembled a police patrol wagon with the same nickname. Movie lights did not exist yet, so they would open the roof and use sunlight. As the sun moved, the whole studio followed it, and it was on a revolving track. Now, today we can watch our favorite movies on a big screen at home or even on our phones. But the first movies were shown on Edison kinetoscope, which did not project images onto a screen. It was built for a peephole, a small little hole for viewing. One person watched at a time. Edison's kinetoscope was the first projector to show movies with a synchronized sound. The projector was connected to a phonograph. It wasn't perfect, but it still was the very first. So when people watched the movies for the first time, they were amazed to see even the simplest movements, like a woman dancing, a man sneezing, excuse me, a boat in the water, a man posing, not that good, even a rooster walking. Now, in present day, it's very possible for you to have walked on pavement created by Edison's factory. Yes, that's right. Edison's cement was used for all sorts of construction, like dams, buildings, roads, sidewalks, and the original Yankee Stadium. He even built a few cement houses. Oddly enough, his successful cement business was also the result of a major failure. Edison originally built a special factory to remove iron ore from rock. Then he used the ore to make iron briquettes for steel production. He and his team designed a remarkable machinery for this project. The iron ore project failed miserably. But instead of being discouraged, the team changed their plans and used the rock waste sand to manufacture cement. A great success. It was unnecessary to roast a large supply of cement mixtures. So Edison designed a roasting kiln that was 150 feet long. That's more than twice the size of an average kiln. Now, today, when you chat with your friends on the computer, you send electronic messages across wires and radio waves, just like the old telegraph machines did. Edison began working as a telegraph operator in his teens. Also in present day, today we use radio waves to transmit all types of signals, including those from mobile phones, radars, televisions, and radios. But it all began where? That's right, in Edison's laboratory. Edison, he eventually improved telegraph technology with a machine that could not only send messages faster, but also send several different messages on the same wire and in the opposite direction. Thomas Edison was also among the first to discover radio waves in the air, although at the time he couldn't fully explain his discovery. Today, our quality of life has certainly been improved by the extraordinary work of Thomas Edison and his colleagues at those labs. Think about it. Bedtime stories would be very different today if it were not for Edison's most popular and important invention, the incandescent light bulb. That's right, what we use. After thousands of experiments, Thomas Edison produced a light bulb that was perfect for homes and offices. It was sturdy, safe, and bright. It also burned a long time. This breakthrough ultimately changed the way we live, and it was also excellent for shadow puppets. Today, Edison's bulb worked as part of an elaborate light and power system large enough to power an entire city. He once told a newspaper that he would be the first person to light up a portion of New York City. It took 4 years of hard work, but he kept his word. Edison built the first large electric generator and power system on Pearl Street in Manhattan. The key feature was its ability to send electricity to many different locations at once. It became the model for the future. Today, you can see, my friends, so every time you turn on a light, think of Thomas Edison and remember everything he gave us. One of the greatest tributes to his work came on the day of his funeral in 1931. At that time, President Herbert Hoover asked the entire country to honor Edison by doing a simple thing, by turning off the lights for a minute of darkness. People everywhere honored a lifelong career filled with important inventions and innovations, a career that began in a small home laboratory of a young boy with lots of ambition. Yes, my friends, that's the story of Thomas Edison and all the great inventions that you can see on this timeline. It's amazing what one man's impact can be. But think about it. He had multiple failures. What if just one time that failure made him quit? We may have not have had the light bulb, radios, x-ray machines. It boggles the mind to think. So when you think about giving up, when you think a failure is the end for you, think of somebody like Thomas Alvin Edison. And what would have happened if that one time he gave up or he quit? I hate to think about those days. So, my friends, enjoy today, enjoy tomorrow, and think of the future you're going to be part of. Why? Because you do not quit, you do not give up, because failure is just a lesson to be learned. Thank you, my friends. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.